How's everybody? How's everybody? How's everybody doing? I'm Nancy, your health coach. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I really want to talk about motivation. How do you stay motivated? It's really, trying times lately, and it's sometimes it just weighs us down and we have a hard time staying motivated, whether it's showing up for ourselves, for our kids, for our spouse, for our colleagues, whatever that looks like for you. But sometimes we tend to stay in the fight or flight mode, and that just weighs us down over time because it affects our adrenal glands. It affects pretty much everything. That it affects our energy. So the important thing is I'm gonna give you a few tips that you guys can do. Good afternoon, Jeanette. Thank you so much for joining. So I want to share with you a couple tips that you guys can do to help you stay motivated. And the main reasons why we feel like unmotivated. I don't like to use motivation in a way because it has a weird spin on it. I think the body speaks to us through symptoms, always. So if we don't feel motivated to do certain things, it's usually because we are experiencing fatigue, we are experiencing stress, we are experiencing, maybe we just feel like overwhelmed, just a lot of heaviness, right? And in the collective consciousness, there is a lot of heaviness, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of anxiety, and a lot of fear. So sometimes that gets the best of us. So sometimes it's hard to stay motivated. So the three important tips that I want to share with you guys, and in hopes that's going to serve you in one way or another, is the first thing that I want to take a look at with you is really how self-care does go a long way. And I know my videos seems to be always about this lately, but it's true. I mean, if we don't take the time to nourish ourselves first, it's very hard for us to stay motivated and to be there for others. My daily routine, first thing in the morning, is to take care of myself first. I get up earlier, so I'm not taking anybody's time but my own. I have a journaling practice, I have a workout routine, and I listen to something that inspires me. Which brings me to my next point. If you are constantly surrounded by negativity, if it's not social media or the news or people that are around you who keeps complaining or reporting the news to you, then it's really important to set yourself those healthy boundaries, because it's going to weigh heavy on you over time. I know a lot of people would argue that it's very important to stay informed. Yes. But when we overly expose ourselves to that environment, it really consumes a lot of our energy. And then we have a hard time staying motivated and being there for others. Sometimes, we come home and we're feeling really stressed and we're feeling really tired, and then we just have enough energy to just play with our kids or make supper or do the dishes or whatever needs to be done, and then we're basically burnt out from the heaviness that we're feeling every day, especially these days with the lockdown and everything. So super important to have yourself a self-care ritual every single day. Take 20-30 minutes at least, something that you enjoy doing. It could be in a form of exercise, it could be in attacking your goals. All those things release feel-good hormones, love hormones. And when you increase those love hormones, then the fear hormone goes down. So if you exercise, then it releases endorphins, which makes you feel good. And then if you attack your goals, if you work on your projects, your hobbies, your goals, your projects, then that releases serotonin and dopamine, which makes you feel good. So it's important to get those or expose yourself to those feel-good hormones as much as you can. And I would also say, even your I've read somewhere that addictions and people who are, I guess they call it isolation calories, and people who are, addiction has risen about 45%, And a lot of people have been gaining weight throughout this isolation period, and rightfully so. I mean, it's stressful times. People have means to cope with this stress in a way that doesn't serve them. So I'm asking you, learn how to manage your stress and emotion in a way that would serve you, your health, your well-being, your mindset, your emotional well-being, your perception, the way you think. All of these things needs to be crowded out with positive things. Whether it's if you're listening to something that's going to inspire you to be a better person, or if you want to develop a skill in some way, then listen to something like that that's going to serve you. I would also say, sometimes the motivation gets hijacked when we cast judgment on others. And we can easily set ourselves up that way because it feels good in the moment. It really, it feels good for the ego, because the ego feeds off being right. So when we feel right about certain things, it creates a certainty which makes us feel good, which when we feel like we're right, it feels good to the ego, but then it also separates us from everybody else. Taking the, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, get vaccinated, don't get vaccinated, all these rules and regulations, a lot of people, there's a lot of controversy around those things, but bottom line is that everybody believes that they are right. And I find more so than ever, it's creating a lot of separation in humanity. And because it's creating a lot of separation in humanity, we're becoming weaker and weaker as a whole. And because we're not working together, we are much stronger when we work together. We thrive on love and connection. So if you're adding the fact that we have to be isolated, we have to keep our distances, a lot of the times we feel the urge to be right, which separates us. Even I've heard at one point where I think somebody who, like, they encourage you to report somebody else if you see somebody having people over or something, like a get together or something like that. And so it kind of puts people against each other. So that really separates us and makes us weaker. And we're, like I said, like we don't function well when we're all separated. We need to work together. So physically, I know we can't, but emotionally, if we can catch ourselves as the moment we start judging others for whatever reason, just catch yourself and say, if we can shift that and be more accepting and loving towards others, that ultimately turns up the love and dampens the fear, and it really makes a big difference. And I find what really saved me the last year was really being of service for everybody else. That is the one true thing that I'm like, hey, I want to use these platforms as a force for good. If I have nothing right to say, I'm not going to say anything at all. What happened to that? That's an old value that we were taught like so long ago. And I think there's some truth to that. If we can't have nothing right to say or nothing good to say, then don't say anything at all. It just feeds the negativity, which there's already enough of that in the world. We need to balance that out with more love and connection. And even if we can't do it on a physical level, then let's do it on an emotional level. Let's find more compassion and empathy towards others, because obviously everybody's going through something. And in return, that will fuel you up. That will fuel you, keep you motivated. You feel judged. Yeah, I hear you, Lori. That's another thing. The person on the other hand who's feeling judged, that doesn't feel good. And again, you feel separate from other people, which that doesn't feel good. And there's enough in life against us. We cannot be against other people and ourselves. So trying to find ways that you live your truth, speak your truth, and let those people who are judging, how can I say that? People who suffer bring about suffering. So if you feel judged, I guess the best thing that I can say is having compassion for that person who is passing on judgment onto others, because usually those are the people who are suffering. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I want to say today. I really think that self-care goes a long way. I really think that if we kind of fire up the love hormone and dampen down the fear hormone, that's really good. If we can maybe stop judging ourselves so much and find more love and compassion towards others, that would be really great. Also, being really mindful of who or what you're exposing yourselves to every single day, it makes a huge difference. Honestly, without that, I don't know where I would be today, because it's scary out there. It's intimidating, it's frightening, it's hard, it's a difficult season. So it does get the best of us at one point or another. So it's very important to balance that out with something that's going to empower you and inspire you and motivate you to stay sane, if anything. So if you have any other questions or comments for me before I go, I hope this serves you in any way, shape, or form. I really enjoy doing these live videos at 3. I try to do three times a week around 3 o'clock. So if you guys want to join me around that time, I'm trying to do this solo thing by myself, getting out of my comfort zone, doing it live by myself. I think I'm doing all right. With enough practice, you get good at it, right? So I really wish you guys a great Wednesday. Again, those 3 things really help you stay motivated. I am speaking from experience, so I just want to share that experience and knowledge and wisdom with you. Oh, I'm so grateful that you enjoy my talk. I really hope it helps out. I will see you guys tomorrow morning with Rock at 7:15, Thursday, on another topic of, because this week's challenge is about crowding out, with basically exposing yourself to things that inspire you, like stepping away from the news and heading more towards what motivates you and inspires you and empowers you. So I think this is great. I mean, twice a day, a little bit of a dose in the first thing in the morning, a little bit of humor, a little bit of insights to jack you up first thing in the morning, and then another dose in the afternoon to help you get through these dark times. A friend of mine says, what other people think of you is not your concern. Yeah, totally. There is, my friend's grandma used to say, as long as they're not paying, how did she say that? She said, well, they're not paying my rent or my mortgage. Why should I care what they think? Which I think that's really true. Well, thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you guys tomorrow morning at 7:15 and again at 3 p.m. tomorrow afternoon. Enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers.